Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about the little wonkiness here. I'm trying out a new recording thing. I found that I hate editing with a burning passion. Therefore, I'm trying to do this all in OBS. See how it makes me feel. But on to the main point. Now, a little bit of an incendiary title. Because how could I, a newbie to the franchise, tell FromSoft what to do? They made a perfect game, right? Kind of. So here's the thing. What FromSoft games bring something different to every person. But I think I represent a subsection of the population that that only really has things like FromSoft games as the only option they have, which is I like feeling the childhood feeling I used to get when I would beat hard things, usually punishing things that were unfair and would kill me randomly until I figured out the exact right way I was supposed to do it, and then I won, and that feeling of elation and relief. That feeling is something I think a lot of people do play the game for. Certainly not the majority of people, but enough where I feel like I think these people's grievances should be heard, including my own. And I am not one of these people that is coming into the scene, couldn't kill one of the third of people who couldn't kill Margit, and is now trying to dictate how the game should go. I don't believe that. I think I am making polite requests, frankly, because the title was a little bit clickbait, I will admit, of what I think that for me and for people like me who are not Souls-born veterans, who aren't, especially now, probably aren't going to go back and play older Souls-born games, because from everything I hear, Elden Ring is the tightest and the most polished of everything since. And from what I've seen of previous games, I can believe that. I'm asking for, a couple trappings. If the push to open world has been, from what I've gathered, a boon to the Dark Souls 4 or Elden Ring. And one of the things I personally have felt up until this point is the fact that it's kind of hard to keep track of things. While, the marks and the stamps on the map are admittedly very useful, they don't carry through different game playthroughs. When I say playthroughs, I mean journeys, or New Game Plus 1, 2, 3, etc. And they also, the map, aside from, some specific unique things where they're telling you to go somewhere and do something, you really, like with Volcano Manor, for example, you kind of really don't have much to go off of. I feel like, some kind of quest tracking would do good. Now, for those who are decrying, saying, "Oh, we don't want quest tracking, it's going to make things too easy, it's going to kill the discovery." A valid point. And I actually am not advocating quest markers to the next NPC. I had to have a wiki open to do Brother Corrin's quest line properly and get that ending, which I'm sure still trying to get. Radigan is kicking my ass in Journey number 3. But I digress. When I'm talking, but a solution for something like this already exists. It's called. It came out in 2002. The FromSoft games, from what I've gathered, are a distillation of gaming since past. The only thing that people like me who do enjoy that feeling of overcoming in ways that can either be gotten through doing veteran level content in MMOs with friends or playing a FromSoft game. That's kind of a captive market that FromSoft does have. And I think that using Morrowind, which came out in 2002's Quest Journal, that also, not the quest, thing at this, like that came out with Tribunal. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about base vanilla Morrowind. That had just everything that you did quest-wise, and per people you talk to, it wrote it all down. Now, I'm not even saying you have to do all that, but what I am saying, maybe having an item that you, say, would buy from maybe the vendor near Stillwater Village, possibly, that as you kill bosses, as you talk to NPCs, it just documents it. So it just writes down things as they happen, maybe in the main player Tarnished's voice, maybe not. But I think being able to look back on certain things going on in the world that you've done will be able to help give context to what you are about to do. And that's the big thing, at least for me. One of my biggest problems with the FromSoft game is the world is deeply interesting. And they've done great strides to make the actual story front and center compared to previous games. But what they haven't done is they've made it very difficult to be, in it. Another thing this journal could possibly do is if and this is more of a stretch. Like, I don't think this would fit it as well. But I think one of the things that would be nice is if you could read all of the, like, as you collect items and stuff, and you read their descriptions, and you go to the description page and you linger on it for a certain amount of time, it gets documented in that book. And then you can, if I want to read all of Ronnie's backstory, it's there. And it makes it so it's easier for a layman to parse. But at the same time, that lore is something you do traditionally have to work for. So that's something that I think would be interesting, but I think is not necessary. But most importantly, what I do think is, at the end of the day, that, frankly, I do not think that, just bumbling around the world, that's good for your first playthrough. But, like, the fact that it's something that, like, on playthrough 3, when I want to finish a certain quest, I have to, like, I had to do Millicent's quest, and I had to keep the wiki up for the entirety of it. There is no way I would have been able to do that quest effectively if I didn't do that. Thankfully, I got a lot of objectives, so I just had to teleport to where the fuck she was supposed to spawn, but how would I have known to go over to where that ulcerated tree spirit was in the entrance to Millennia's room? More to that, how do I even know to go to the Hig tree? The path to get to the first nugget of information you need is very hidden. And literally the second piece of it is in a undisclosed location that's kind of a pain to get to as well, and is hidden and held by a character who is himself using like the mimic veil or whatever to turn into another item. It's wild. Fundamentally, all I want to say is this. I am coming into a space where I am new, where I am not, I'm not someone, I am very respectful of the fact that the company that makes these games has a fan base that has a certain level of respect. I used to think get good was a derogatory term until I started learning about the community and realized that it was an encouraging message originally, and it's still treated like that in a lot of the community today. It is not a phrase of fuck you. It's a phrase of work. We want you to be better, which, I can appreciate. Fundamentally, what I have to say is this. Jeez, my hair's a fucking mess. Just putting these back on. What I have to say is this. I feel like with the changes in how story was told with this game, if they intend to make another game that is open world, that has a similar type of storytelling this way, I personally think if you were going to make changes to make the story more visible to the average layman, I think having a way to keep track of those story beats as they happen to you would be very valuable, personally, and I would appreciate that. And that's fundamentally what I'm thinking. I really wouldn't change much else about the game. I think I don't think I have the authority. I don't think I have the knowledge, but I do know what I like, and I do know that what people like me who are like this, who are playing this game primarily for that challenge. We are a captive audience, and as someone like me who is also deeply invested in the worlds that are built, especially a deeply interesting world like Elden Ring, I think fundamentally that's what I want. I want to be able to keep track of my deeds and remember, and be reminded of the significance of it in the moment. But that's it. Regardless, a big thank you to my patrons: Reed Savage, Mike Nicely, PT Sean, Vivian Van Dam, Anthony J. Lopez, and the love of my life, Metafafuzi. If you like this, or if you are interested in supporting me, please consider joining my Patreon. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. That's the wrong one. This is the right one.